gang. Hey, nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family.
Me and my friends, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's the game till forever and the day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip in the hate. We got I don't give a fuck in our veins, man. Me and my fans,
We the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. It is just about 5 minutes or so before noon. So here's your live lunch weather update for your Wednesday as the winter storm continues to roll through Oklahoma. We'll give you the latest on what's been happening so far up to this point and what's going to happen here still to come, as it is a long system. It's a two-parter, and the second part will be coming in for tonight and tomorrow. So thanks for joining me. I do have a lot to cover, so as usual, my lunchtime lines are a lot shorter. I'm on a tighter schedule, so I try to throw a lot at you in a very short order. So get used to it. That's kind of the way it is on the lunch. In the evenings, I can expand a little bit more and have a little bit more time to chit-chat, etc. But here, it's all straight to business because, hey, you got a short time frame to work in your lunch as well, right? Okay, so out there currently, as you know, if you look outside, you don't need me to tell you, it's cloudy. We've had a little bit of snow mixed in northwest and parts of central Oklahoma. We've got the freezing drizzle, we've got the sleet, and a little bit of freezing rain out there. So it's just a mess. It's a lovely winter day. Temperatures, man, I'm 11.7 degrees. If you want to get technical, here on my backyard Tempest weather station, it is a horrific day, man. That's just nasty. Wind chill value, they're showing up just barely above zero. That's just when the winds go kind of on a calm side. They've been gusty at times. So that's not going to change. Get used to it. That is the way it's going to be. Now, if we take a look elsewhere across the state, temperatures are holding right around 11 degrees or so in central Oklahoma and even up north in Osage County below that number in the single digits. Still a little milder, if you want to put it that way, politely, down southeast Oklahoma. All the way down to the freezing point, though, LaFleur County, etc. Factor in the wind, though. Wind chill values do drop off once you get a few of those gusts and sustained winds below zero. So we'll be outdoors for any length of time. Today is really not the day to do it. You're going to have to dress appropriately. The upper level storm system is still out to our west. It's this big mass of clouds rotating around. And out ahead of it is the jet stream track, which runs right over Oklahoma, carrying with it the moisture. Now you can notice within this loop, our first heavy batch is moving out away from us to the east and northeast into Missouri, now in Arkansas. So the heavy round has come to an end here in central Oklahoma, but you will notice this enhancement in the cloud cover right here. This is storm number 2. So this will be storm number 1 moving away, storm number 2. Question is, what does storm number 2 have along with it? Well, I'm glad you asked that. We'll get to that answer for you here at lunchtime. Okay, so when you look at the National Weather Service, they're still highlighting this area here in eastern Oklahoma and Arkansas, parts of southeastern Missouri for a significant icing, freezing rain event. So that has not changed. When they look at the potential winter storm impacts, they're still listing as a major impact here across southeastern Oklahoma, North Texas, on into Arkansas. So again, nothing has changed in the overall discussion points we've talked about now since I've been blue in the face, just like I'm blue in my AT's hoodie. So by the way, you can pick one of these up. Jody will post a link for you if you'd like to get one. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the algorithms as far as what the atmosphere is capable of producing, this first round in orange had the sleet moving through North Texas and in Oklahoma. That's mostly sleet, some freezing rain in southeast Oklahoma mixed in, and of course in Arkansas, where you see the red, that is where more freezing rain is mixed in with the sleet through this afternoon and through the evening. But you will notice overnight the trend is for the atmosphere to produce more more freezing rain there in North Texas and in southeast Oklahoma and Arkansas. So that red has expanded, and the orange area has compressed a little bit. As we head through the rest of this system for Thursday morning, you can see a lot more of that red shows up, which again means more warmer air is hanging around to produce more freezing rain than sleet for the next wave. So the first wave, highlighted in purple, is mostly for the sleet that moved through. You see a little bit of red indicating some freezing rain mixed in there in southeast Oklahoma. That moved into Arkansas here for this afternoon, and you see how it exploded with the red, meaning a lot more freezing rain here in central Arkansas. Missouri still has quite a bit more sleet, and to northeast Texas, more freezing rain developing in the evening hours, and that backdoors in toward Tyler, Longview, I-20, back into the eastern sides, probably Dallas-Fort Worth as we head into the overnight period, so after midnight. Your new wave will kick in as that next disturbance moves through, so you can see some freezing rain, a little bit of sleet mixed in on the west side of the metroplex down there, and also you will see by daybreak on Thursday, this activity making its way back into central, southern, and eastern Oklahoma with the highest concentration of the heaviest stuff east of I-35. That's your take home with this secondary wave, and you can see the red indicating a lot more freezing rain here in the eastern third of Oklahoma. So luckily it'll be light, but it's going to accumulate and pile up and lead to power outages here for the most part into that region. You can see that extends down to Dallas. Again, they're going to extend that little icing event for those folks. And then as you head into the afternoon period, from lunchtime onward, it starts to move out of Oklahoma. So tomorrow afternoon, things do improve slightly as far as precipitation is concerned, the heavy stuff, but continues in Arkansas, Missouri, and I know the models are trying to turn it over to green here, but that freezing rain will linger a little bit longer. And then that's all she wrote with this system. So that's kind of the big picture of that. Here in Oklahoma City, for example, we are in the ice pellet category, which is the pink. So our first wave is here, second wave is here. So what that means is as our next round comes in here in Oklahoma City, and you look at the QPF associated with that, which is the precipitation element to it, let's scoot this over just a little bit so you can see. There's the first little wave here. We topped out around 3/10 or so to 5/10 in the model data for sleet accumulations. But the secondary round is not so high. You notice that? So that's some good news here in Oklahoma City. Tulsa's somewhat similar. I think you're going to have just a little higher amounts. If we were to click on this, you can see your second wave. There's some ensembles here that decide you might get a little bit more. But otherwise, still fairly light compared to this round. And if you're looking to southeast Oklahoma, McAllister, you can see your secondary peak here is still a little bit higher. That's a 1/4 of an inch on some of the higher numbers. Down toward Durant, same kind of deal. Your secondary peak here is up around 2/10 to 3/10 of precipitation. So you get the idea, higher amounts as you go more to the south and east. Now, the lift in the atmosphere, you see the big bright purple and red, that came through this morning. That was that heavy wave of sleet mixed in a little bit of thunder for some of you, especially south and eastern parts of the state. As we head into, let's see, the evening hours, of course, that's moved off. We do have some new lift here developing in the evening hours across the body of Oklahoma, and that continues to pick up in intensity overnight. This is tonight after midnight, so you can see it tomorrow morning, that heavy intensity right back here in the I-35 corridor points out to the east. But it moves off pretty quickly as far as the real heavy stuff. In Arkansas, by lunchtime, we should have some residual through early afternoon, but most of the significant lift is over, which means most of the precipitation should be winding down at that point in time. And you can say we're kind of on the edge of the moisture, so here's one big chunk wave of moisture that moved through here in the big blob of green. You can see the trail of the jet stream, though, overhead is along the I-44 corridor, so we really don't leave the moisture source here as it's just barely on our fringe. In the afternoon, we do start to dry things out as that drier air moves in, so that's why we still have at least about a 24-hour period to go of some light to occasionally moderate precipitation in the form of, again, more sleet, a little bit of freezing rain, freezing drizzle, and a few snow flurries. So it's a mixed bag. All right, so here's a look at the 850 millibar temperatures. Will anything change in the environment to produce more sleet or more freezing rain down here? Well, let's take a look. We're going to outline roughly the line we talked about last night. So this will be the boundary. This comes right up into Tulsa, points to the west. We're going to see if the situation improves or changes as we go through time here. So if you'll watch, the colors don't really move a whole lot. That blue line stays anchored. That does mean mostly sleet here for Tulsa down the I-44 corridor, and it does mean in this region it's warmer. It's plus 6, 7, 8 degrees Celsius. That's a freezing rain event for southeast Oklahoma, so that didn't change through tomorrow morning. So that's why we have majority, this time around, the secondary wave of a lot more freezing rain in this area, and then, of course, the sleet as you get closer to the I-44 corridor is the way that goes. All right, so here's a look at how the breakdown goes. For 7 o'clock this morning, of course, we had that heavy sleet move through just in time for rush hours we talked about last night. Well, that has moved on away. This is lunchtime now with the heavy stuff pressing into eastern parts of Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, let me pop this up here right for you. This is the current radar. It does show you how there's still some light stuff going on here in central Oklahoma across the metro. That's not going to change. That's pretty much the standard. But you can see the darker green color and some of the yellow mixed in. That's heavier pockets of sleet mixed in with some moderate sleet here across eastern Oklahoma. And then, of course, that extends on down south into southern Oklahoma as well. And a lot of these little reports here are for sleet measurements where it says magnitude. That's a half-inch accumulation here in Tulsa, for example. Let's see, here in Oklahoma City, there's some of the south side of town where it looks like somebody got slammed with sleet. A Weather Service employee measured over an inch down around the Norman area. And remember, we talked about Norman being a hot spot for that sleet storm. So, man, I'll tell you what, the models did a really good job with this storm system outlining where the heaviest amounts of sleet would be. So here's Pottawatomie County, 1.5 inches of sleet. Down here toward Ada, also 1.5 inches. So your corridor we talked about in the forecast period in the data. Remember I said just south of the I-44 corridor, about to Muskogee, north of McAllister, this would be the heavy round of sleet. And sure enough, with the amounts really excessive, over an inch of sleet. That is impressive. And then you have a lot more freezing rain mixed in with the sleet down here in southeast Oklahoma. All right, so that was a look at the current radar view. I want to give you that, that way you're up to date there. So this rain, or freezing rain and sleet, will move off to the east. Here for this afternoon, there's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, so it's pretty quick moving as far as that first wave. As we head into the evening hours, you see it never quite leaves southeastern Oklahoma. So it's going to continue in that area overnight and then to start to kind of pick up. So this is Thursday evening, a little bit of a break, and then as we head into the 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, where's my rest of my precipitation? Come on, where are you? Oh, I went too far. Come on, Aaron. You gotta look at the time. I went so fast I just skipped right past Thursday. I was like, this didn't make any sense. All right, so here's midnight, and there's that new precipitation breaking out here across southeast Oklahoma, North Texas. A lot lighter signal, but still the signal nonetheless. And it will add insult to injury. It will continue to make the roads treacherous and trouble to travel on. Matter of fact, the roads will be worse tonight and tomorrow than they are today, if that gives you any indication. All right, so there's early morning hours, 3, 4, or 5 o'clock in the morning. So again, travel in the morning. If you're heading out, you're in trouble, especially central, southern, southeastern, eastern Oklahoma. There's that. The models are trying to delineate where the purple and the red kind of come together along this line, where you get a lot more freezing rain. So again, McAllister is kind of on the northern fringe. Same thing with Muskogee for freezing rain mixed in and significant at that. So probably some power outages in both of those towns and areas. All right, so then in the morning hours, heavy stuff continues out there, and then by the time we head to lunchtime, now it's starting to move away into southeast Oklahoma, and then by the afternoon it is gone. Okay, so that's what I was going to show you earlier. Now, for North Texas, real quick, same idea. You guys have a mixture of a little bit of sleet and some freezing rain today. As we head into 7 o'clock this evening, look at that. More of this little light red stuff shows up. It just means another wave of freezing rain. It doesn't really stop. Remember, it's a very light accumulation down here, but it's over a prolonged period, so it'll sneak up on you, cause problems. Here's Thursday lunchtime, and it's finally out of your area. Then no more sleet or freezing rain for you. So again, a little baby ice storm going on in Dallas-Fort Worth here for the remainder of today and tonight and early tomorrow. All right, Arkansas, you guys, here's your first wave that moves through this afternoon. You're going to have more freezing rain mixed in for tonight. So here's in the evening hours. And then here's overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. All that red, it's just all freezing rain all day long, all night long. And then into Thursday afternoon, it starts to kind of wind down. The models are trying to produce some regular rain on top of it. I don't think that'll quite happen, but it will taper off by tomorrow afternoon, and you will have significant amounts of sleet for you, for freezing rain for you guys. So a significant issue with power. All right, southeast Oklahoma. The blend of the models highlights some areas here of an additional, this is freezing rain by the way, up to about 1/2 inch of ice. It likes this little sweet spot here, just from around Fort Smith to McAllister back down toward Durant. So that little corner of the state has the highest amounts. Does not mean there'll be not higher amounts west and north of there, as it likely will be, but there will be more sleet mixed in to help offset that somewhat. But that'll be where the trouble spot is, and that extends all the way down into Dallas, as you saw. All right, snowfall amounts, again, nothing really significant, just a dusting, some flurries, nothing to get excited. Let's see, I think that's what I want to show you for that. Let's go to temperatures. Well, you do know it's cold out there now. Models still have a tough time with Arctic air. I mean, because remember we showed you it's 11 degrees, and the models still think it's going to be 14 or 15. So they just do not handle these air masses very well, despite our best efforts. It's really frustrating, but it is what it is. But at least we know in ahead of time never to trust them when it comes to Arctic air masses. All right, so as we head into this afternoon, we rebound a little bit if we're lucky. Teens. Again, teens is a high today, in case you didn't pick up on that. And then tonight, single digits out west where there's some purple. Otherwise, teens still across most of the state. And then tomorrow, things ought to improve a little bit. Now, the models get a little excited with the upper 20s. Let's call it mid-20s. And then down here along the Red River, let's call it right around 30. So shave a few degrees off of this, and that'll be more accurate. And then as we head into Friday morning, same idea. Lots of teens, some single digits in the purple shadings. Otherwise, in the afternoon. Now, this particular case, some of us will probably get to the freezing point. A lot of us will still be in the 20s, and roads will begin to improve by Friday afternoon somewhat. Somewhat. Not perfect. Still icy everywhere. But if you have to get out and you on short order, that's probably the best time to do it for this entire event. Winds still gusting this afternoon, up around 20 or so. Then it calms down this evening, picks back up overnight a little bit, calms down again on Thursday, picks back up as the storm system moves by. Here's Thursday evening. So any ice accumulations down here in southeastern Oklahoma will be affected by the additional winds. That means additional power outages for your Thursday night and Friday as the system pulls away and kicks up the wind one last time. And then by Friday afternoon, things are quiet and it looks good when it comes to the wind. All right, so now let's take a look at the wind chill values. Back into the below zero values we go. They'll rebound a little bit this afternoon as some of the winds die down some and the temperatures moderate by a couple of degrees. That's about it. Otherwise, just a brutal day. Then on, let's go to Thursday afternoon, you see the wind chills really drop, or really come up, I should say, since the winds drop off. So that's some slightly good news. And of course, they go right back into the single digits for Friday morning as those winds pick up again. But by Friday afternoon, the wind chills back off. So point being is, expect a wide range of wind chill values from below zero to, the freezing point up through Friday afternoon. Temperatures, we will curtail the warm up just by a few degrees. Each of these numbers shave a few degrees off. By Saturday, I think most of us will be right above freezing or right at freezing across the entire state. And then Sunday looks like the first day we'll break out of this mess and things will look a lot better. All right, what time are we at? We're at 12:11, and I think I've covered the majority. I will show you this here real quick. So when you're talking about precipitation accumulation, why it's a little bit different with this system versus the other. This first round here in this column, completely saturated. The green represents humidity values all the way down the surface. You can see that produced quite a bit of sleet as a result with a lot of this red contours here, which means a lot of omega lift in the atmosphere. So perfect ideal situation. Now look what happens after that. Remember, time goes on this deal from right to left. And if you notice right in here, there is no moisture. It is bone dry. So what that means is we're only stuck to produce precipitation in this next wave down here at the lowest, about 7,000 feet. So kind of just around the shallow Arctic air mass layer and a little above it. And that's why you can't get a lot of heavy precipitation in this event. There's not a whole lot of omega in this boundary layer. Most of it's above where you don't have any significant moisture. So that means you can get a little sleet occasionally, some snow flurries mixed out, squeezed out from the cold Arctic air, and then some freezing drizzle. And that's kind of how that equates, and that's here in over Oklahoma City. And the same really could be said across Tulsa and Dallas. Really no big changes there, which is why precipitation is light, but it will accumulate over that long period of time, especially down in Dallas where you have more ice mixed in. Okay, so that was a lot to cover. Appreciate you guys watching, sharing this video. Stay warm, stay safe. There was I got a couple minutes left, so let me go through this here real quick. What I want to do. Yeah, because I want to do this real quick. Talked about this last night. How do you measure ice on a branch? Because you want to report this to the National Weather Service, for example. You take the coating on both sides of the ruler, so you add them up, and then you divide by 2. That's the simplest way to do it. You're not going to include the actual branch of the tree, but that's how you would measure that. Let me see what else I got. I want to show you. Of course, I don't have to tell you to watch out for ice on bridges and roads because it's out there. So you can look out your window. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. That was one other thing I want to show you. Obviously, you got to dress warm. The person here on the right, multiple layers to stay out. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. And if you're going to be in your car, for example, and you just have to go, jumper cable, spare tires, flares, full tank of gas, blankets, snow shovel, flashlight, mittens, water, snacks, cell phone charger, first aid kit, tow rope. Why? Because you might be in a ditch for a long time. That's not going to be good for anybody, right? So make sure you go prepared if you do have to get out and about. All right, so last thing I want to show you, speaking of getting out and about, because this is important. So let's go back to here. On my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com, you go up to the Weather Data tab, you hit Multi-State Road Conditions, because I get asked all the time, how are the roads? This will answer your question. You see all these traffic cameras and these little vehicle cameras? You can click on either one of any of these, and it will give you a real-life picture of what it looks like from the crew on the streets. You can see how the roads look, you can see how their situation looks. These roads are color-coded to indicate whether things are moving along or not. You can turn on the little layers, you can... let's see what else is on here. The legend shows up on here for open, delays, close, etc. Scroll down from there. You can see here Oklahoma City, but you can expand this map out. You can click on any one of these little traffic cameras. You can get a live view of how things are moving on the highways, how well they're covered, how well traffic is moving if you want to brave the elements. Same thing for Kansas, although I don't expect much problems up there. Things are pretty clear. And then here is Missouri. So same idea here. This map didn't load because I didn't refresh it. And then down to Texas, same idea. You can click on any one of these cameras and get your impact there as far as your surroundings of where you're going or where you currently are located. And that is the best, quickest, fastest way to get road conditions anywhere around Oklahoma. Arkansas is also listed on there as well. All right, I am it. That's it. I'm out of time. I did everything I could do. We'll talk again tonight about 9:30. We'll see if there's anything different coming in with this secondary wave, how much more precipitation we should see. Should be mostly light, but enough to cause more travel problems and more power outages. That's about it. So it's just a headache. It's just a nuisance. But we've already got the bulk of our heavy stuff here with this first round. All right, that's it for me, you guys. Be safe, be warm, and we'll talk soon. Take care.